Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and to pronounce all glories to Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarupishya kripasindukhye vacha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome all of you to the mid-morning session of the Sanga Japa conference call. We'll be having Caitanya Bhagavata session. Before that, may I know who all have joined the call?
Hare Krishna, Darshini Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devi Dasi from College Station, Texas. Thank you so much for your sweet services. Hare Krishna. And prayers for all the Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving the association with the Sri Lanka. Sincere prayers for the devotees who have requested.
Hare Krishna, Darshini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada, this is Preeti Vilasini Devi Dasi from Atlanta. Thank you, Kirtana Mataji, for your beautiful chanting and dedication. And thank you, Darshini Mataji, for the warm introductions.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving the association. Thank you so much for your heartfelt appreciation. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Darshini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees on the call. This is Haritha from Missouri City, Texas, and my dedication and prayers to all the devotees who have been sick, and just praying for the recovery Mataji, for Sita Preeti Mataji's son, and Vrinda Kumari Mataji's father. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Haritha Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving the association, Mataji. We are very grateful for your sincere prayers. Hare Krishna. Themselves.
Hare Krishna, Darshini Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. My Dhanvat Pranams to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Susmita Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association, Mataji, and thank you so much for all your services. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Priya Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association to us this morning. I welcome all of you to the Sanga Japa conference call mid-morning session on Sri Caitanya Bhagavata. The class will be given by Her Grace Sukha Sagari Mataji. Before that, I would like to start off by reading Srila Prabhupada's quote for the day. If there is little pain in the finger, I become so much disturbed because I have got intimate connection with this finger. Similarly, we have got intimate connection with Krishna and we are fallen. Therefore, Krishna also feels little pain. and therefore he comes down. Krishna is feeling pain. So you become Krishna conscious. Then Krishna will feel pleasure. Vrindavan, April 24, 1975. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll proceed on to the next part of the session, that is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat class. The class will be given by her Grace Sukha Sagari Mataji. Caitanya Bhagavat Madhya Khanda, chapter 10, verses 58 to 69. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. We are very grateful to you for giving your association and enlightening us on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Mataji, chapter 10, verses 58 to 69. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, I now hand over the call to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry, I was on mute. Thank you Mataji for the warm introduction. Please just give me a second. I just want to switch on the lights. Yeah, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, let me quickly share my screen. Okay. Give me 1 second, I'll share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Like it's on Chaitanya Bhagavat, the website. Okay. Let me submit it. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I really thank the organizers for giving me this chance to purify myself. The pastimes are so sweet and esoteric, and the qualities that are exhibited by the devotees of the Lord are so exemplary in every which way, and there's so much that can be spoken about the devotees of the Lord, because the Lord himself, he likes to he likes to glorify his devotees, and what to speak of us. It's so nectarian to read these pastimes. So we'll be continuing with chapter 10 of the Madhya Khanda, and this is the chapter is titled Conclusion of the Lord's Mahaprakasha Pastimes. So we saw the Mahaprakasha Leela part of it in chapter 9, and this chapter mostly deals with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifying his very dear associates. So in the last chapter, we saw how he glorified Kulaveta Sridhar. And in this chapter, in the beginning, we saw how he glorified Murari Gupta. And now it's Haridas Thakur, and several other devotees will be glorified like that. So in this, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorifies Haridas Thakur is overwhelmed, and he swoons and faints, and again he gets up. I mean, he's not able to control his emotions. And then he starts speaking these words, and that's where we are continuing from. Let me first offer the Mangalacharan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these are some of the words which are spoken by Haridas Thakur as commented by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. निर्गुणाधम सर्व जाति बहिष्कृता उन्हीं के बलि बा प्रभु तुम्हारा चरिता निर्गुणाधम सर्व जाति बहिष्कृता उन्हीं के बलि बा प्रभु तुम्हारा चरिता. English translation: I have no good qualities. I am a fallen outcast. How can I possibly describe your glories? O Lord, how will I be able to describe your pastimes? I am neither a high class nor middle class person in society. I am simply fallen. I am not enriched with any material qualities. I am bereft of all good qualities. I do not belong to any of the Aryan castes. Therefore, I have no qualification whatsoever to describe your qualities. So in this verse, we see that Haridas Thakur, he's taking such a menial position, like he's taking such a low position, and he says that he's from a low caste and he really does not belong to any high class or even not even middle class like that. He's so fallen, and so he's just is his mood of humility he's trying to exhibit here. We also see so many other devotees. Oh, it's 58. Okay, maybe I skipped the previous verse. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry, I will go on to the previous verse and then we'll discuss the next verse. My apologies, I missed that verse. 58 through 69. Okay, maybe I missed that. Okay, sorry about that. Papa Vishwambhara Prabhu Jagatera Natha Pata Kire Kara Kripa Padila Tu Mata Bapa Vishwambhara Prabhu Jagatera Natha Pata Kire Kara Kripa Padila Tu Mata. English translation: My dear Vishwambhara, O Lord of the universe, please be merciful to this sinful person. I fall at your feet. Commentary: While offering prayers to Mahaprabhu, Thakur Haritha said, O Jagannatha, O maintainer of the universe, O father of the universe, you are entrusted with the responsibility of bestowing mercy on a sinful person like me. So here we see that he's particularly addressing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Vishwambhara, the Lord of the universe, and he's begging for mercy on the sinful person because he is not able to take all the praise which has been offered by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to him. And then, he, for pure devotees especially, praise is, they just cannot tolerate praise, and, they immediately pass it on to their Guru Varga and to Krishna like that. So he's also in that same humble mood. He's saying that, please be merciful to this sinful person. I fall at your feet. He also says that Krishna, here Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the maintainer of the universe. He's the father of the universe. Aham bija pradapita, like he says in the Bhagavad Gita. And he's interested with the responsibility of bestowing mercy on sinful persons. We know that this Chaitanya avatar, like, the descent as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was especially very, the Mahavadanyaya, or the very merciful avatar, or direct descent of Krishna, as we know from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the Lord came here in this age of Kali Yuga, because most of the people in Kali Yuga are sinners in some sense or the other. And this is such a merciful incarnation of the Lord that has come down, just to liberate all these fallen conditioned souls in Kali Yuga. So that's why he is saying that, O Father of the universe, you are entrusted with the responsibility of bestowing mercy on a sinful person like me. So the devotees always think they are very, very sinful, and they don't deserve any mercy of the Lord. And whatever the Lord gives is in fact much more than what they actually deserve. And so at this point, Haridas Thakur is taking such a humble position, and he's trying to glorify the Lord, that he even takes care of fallen conditioned souls, and he puts himself in that kind of um, a very humble position, and he says that the Lord is entrusted with it's the responsibility of bestowing mercy on a sinful person like Haridas Thakur. So this is just the very, very humble nature of a pure devotee of the Lord, which we are seeing here. And this will be the tone of the verses for today, which just show how a devotee is totally surrendered to the Lord and begs for his mercy, at the time of need or even otherwise, they're always thinking of the Lord. So these are the two themes which will be here, like how a devotee is so humble and takes such a humble position. And then the other theme would be like how a devotee remembers the Lord, especially in the times of need. A devotee remembers the Lord, and also uh, how we can do smaranam even during the day, or when there is no particular need for it. I mean, of course, all of us approach the Lord when we're going through difficult times, and we do pray to the Lord to give us strength to actually bear or put up with those situations we're going through. But then how do we do Leela Smaran, or how do we do Smaran of the Lord? It's one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So the theme of today's verses will be around these. These are the couple of themes which stood out to me from the verses today. So let's move on to the next verse. Because I already read this, I'll just read the commentary and the translation. I have no good qualities. I am a fallen outcast. How can I possibly describe your glories? O Lord, how will I be able to describe your pastimes? I am neither a high class nor middle class person in society. I am simply fallen. I am not enriched with any material qualities. I am bereft of all good qualities. I do not belong to any of the Aryan caste. Therefore, I have no qualification whatsoever to describe your qualities. So here again, he is trying to say that he belongs to to a very low class, and he does not belong to any of the Aryan caste. So Aryan caste just refers to a person who is very civilized. I thought we can, try to digress a bit and understand what Aryan, means actually, what this Aryan caste, how Prabhupada defines it in the Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna, he is perplexed, and he doesn't want to fight against his own kith and kin, and he's in a state of, in some sense, depression, and he offers several arguments to Krishna, saying why he should not be actually waging the war against his own family. So he wants to give up everything and go and sit and do yoga like that. So at that time, Krishna says, Anarya Jushtam Asvargam Akirtikaram Arjuna. He says like that in the Bhagavad Gita. He says Anarya Jushtam. So he says your behavior is very not Aryan. And in that context, in those few verses, actually, Srila Prabhupada, he describes what and he defines what this Aryan actually means. So I will just be reading from what Srila Prabhupada has discussed in this context. Prabhupada says, but at the present moment, they claim, this is from a class, they claim that we belong to the Aryan family, but they have not the qualification of an Aryan. The Aryan qualification is described there. Simply, Arjuna was little flickering. He showed his little weakness, and he was at once condemned as non-Aryan. Oh, you're just showing a symptom of a non-Aryan, you see, and by Krishna. But the Aryan word is not ordinary. To become Aryan means a perfect human being. So Srila Prabhupada defines Aryan to be a perfect human being, not like, just the common understanding that it is some kind of race, Dravidian, Aryan, like that. Not in that sense, but he's trying to give the actual real meaning behind this word Aryan. That is Aryan civilization. And then, they go on to read the more of the verses. So this is Tamal Krishna Maharaj who's reading the verses. So Prabhupada asks him to go on, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj reads, such persons are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. So this is what Prabhupada has actually described in the purport, that who do not have the science of God, who do not have the science of self-realization, they do not know what actual liberation is, but they are still in the material concept of life. We see that Arjuna, he was in some sense in the material concept of life, and he was, placing emphasis on his kith and kin. He didn't really want to fight. When he saw his cousins on the other side on the battlefield, he went into a depression of sorts, and he wanted to give up. So he had this kind of material affliction in one sense. And so here in the Prabhupada is describing the persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Of course, Arjuna is a great pure devotee of the Lord, and he's just playing his part here in this Leela. Arjuna was trying to deviate from his prescribed duties, declining to fight, although he was a Kshatriya or warrior. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it give one the opportunity of becoming famous in this world. Lord Krishna, so he says, right, Akirtikanam Arjuna. So Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen. So Prabhupada again describes this. I'm trying to read because it's a very interesting class Prabhupada gave, and there's so many insights there. So Prabhupada comments, so-called compassion. He, that is Arjuna, was thinking that by showing that compassion, he'll be eulogized by Krishna, like he'll be praised by Krishna for being so compassionate and kind and merciful. But Krishna actually condemned it. Yes, just the opposite. In other words, Krishna is very strict also. This is the qualification of Krishna and his associates. Vajrad api kathora and kusumad api kamala, softer than the flower and harder than the thunderbolt. Two sides. When Krishna is strict, he's hardened than the thunderbolt, and when he's soft, he's softer than the flower. These two examples are given. So Krishna is not lenient to his friend or to his devotee, because that leniency will not help him. Again, Prabhupada emphasizes. Sometimes he appears to be very hard for the devotee, but he is not hard. Just like father becomes strict sometimes. That is good. That will be proved how Krishna's hardness will prove his salvation. At the end, Arjuna will admit, by your mercy, my illusion is now over. So by the 18th chapter, he says that, right? That his illusion is over. And then the conversation continues. The next shloka 2.3, which says, "O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance." So at this time, Srila Prabhupada again comments saying that he actually chuckles, when he says degrading importance. He's reading his own purport and translations, and he says, his devotee are covered and important. This is so-called qualification. Importancy and niggard, that is not qualification for devotee. He must be very, in every way, very expert and fit. Krishna wants to see, yes. So I'm just trying to go through this conversation because it's so interesting how Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. Arjuna is, again, in a state, he wants to give up everything. He's posing a very compassionate attitude, a very kind attitude here. And we also see in the verse now, how Haridas Thakur is being very, very humble, and he's trying to, take a very low position like that. But in this context, in the Bhagavad Gita, we see that how Krishna is actually chastising Arjuna. But we are getting these lessons from Prabhupada, where he says that impotency and niggardliness, that is not a qualification for a devotee. A devotee must be in every way very expert and fit. So this is a lesson we learn, from this verse, that though, we may take a humble stand, but that doesn't mean that, we totally are ignorant and are not aware of what Krishna consciousness is. And, oh, I'm being very humble. I'm not a pandit. I will not read. I'll just, do some menial service. That's not what Srila Prabhupada expects here. He's very clearly saying that that is not a qualification for a duty. He must be expert and fit. Krishna wants to see this. So this is our Krishna consciousness movement. Though, on one hand, we try to be very humble and down to earth, but on the other hand, we also are supposed to be experts in preaching this mission, experts in preaching the message of Srila Prabhupada and the Lord, like that. So Srila Prabhupada would not tolerate any kind of laziness on that ground, saying that, oh, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a this. So he wanted each of his disciples to preach and become a guru, like that. And so he wrote several books so that we educate ourselves in the science of Krishna consciousness, which, like I said, will lead to the other thread today, Smaranam. So unless, we read about Krishna, we hear about Krishna, we glorify Krishna, how can we do Smaranam, right? It's not possible. If we don't know anything about the Lord, how can we remember? What will we remember, right? So like that. Yeah, there was, this again, at this point, the next verse is recited by Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he says, it does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So Krishna addresses Arjuna as Parantapa in this verse, okay? And he says that you're chastiser of the enemy. So get up and, do not pretend to be humble. So Prabhupada very beautifully explains, he is specially addressing chastiser of the enemy. Where there is no excuse, you must be chastiser. Not that because I have become Krishna conscious, I'll become very humble. You must be humble, but in need, if there is need, you shall be thunderbolt. That is Krishna instructing. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj continues. Then when Krishna addresses Arjuna as Parantapa, the next verse, let's see how Arjuna addresses Krishna. Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna. So he says Madhusudana, he addresses Madhusudana. How can I counterattack with arrows in battle personalities like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? So he's actually giving it back to Krishna there, because Krishna says, you're the chaster Parantapa, you're the chastiser of enemies, so get up and fight. But now Arjuna is throwing back an argument at Krishna and saying that, oh Madhusudana, how do you want me to actually fight with my own kith and kin, like my own grand uncle, like Bhishma and Drona? So is that right? So he's actually questioning Krishna, because he addresses Krishna as Madhusudana because Krishna killed the demon Madhu. So he says, you were fine, you were correct, in fighting with the demon, because he was a demon Madhu. And so you, fought with him and you killed him. So that makes sense. But why are you asking me to fight against my own kith and kin? So that's a play of, names that's going on here between Krishna and Arjuna. So when Krishna addresses him as Parantapa, Arjuna is trying to give it back to him, saying Madhusudana. So beautifully, Srila Prabhupada describes this in the purport, and he explains it that you killed the demon Madhu, therefore your name is Madhusudana, but you're asking me to kill my grandfather and teacher? So that is the hint. It is all right that your name is Madhusudana. You killed one demon whose name was Madhu, but you're asking me, Bhishma Sudana? Bhishma is my grandfather, and Drona Sudana means killer. So how can I be that? So this is how Arjuna, cleverly he has this conversation with Krishna. We see that how intelligent the devotees of the Lord are. And when it's not like Arjuna just sat back and took Krishna's explanation, he puts so many counter questions to the Lord. And, and this is, of course, for our benefit to understand. And the beauty of it all is how the acharyas have explained these esoteric truths to us. I would never have guessed, like, this was the question and that was the response. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada, he brings out so many insights from just a couple of words like that. So I just thought, so this is the definition which is given for the term Aryan. And of course, we know that Haridas Thakur, he is the Namacharya, and he's a great devotee of the Lord. But he's just putting himself in this very, very humble position. And he says that I'm bereft of all good qualities. I do not belong to any of the Aryan caste. But we need to understand here that he is, though Vaishnavas do not belong to any caste, they are pure devotees of the Lord, but they are of the highest order, even greater than Brahmanas, right? Because Vaishnavas are full of devotion to the Lord, like that. So let's move on to the next verse. Dekhila pataka more parashila snana, muni ki baliba prabhu tumara khyana. देखिले पताका मोरे परसिले स्नाना, मुनि की बलिबा प्रभु तुम्हारा ख्याना. If one sees me, he becomes sinful. If one touches me, he should take bath. How then can I glorify your topics? Commentary. I'm a sinful person. No pious person should see me, or that person will more or less be touched by sin. I'm an untouchable. If anyone touches me, he should take bath to purify himself. I'm such an unqualified person that I'm not capable of offering prayers to you. I was thinking in this context, let me go. I had some notes prepared. Yeah, when I saw this verse, I was actually reminded of how Sanatana Goswami, when he actually visits Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, he tries to take a very circuitous path, to avoid bumping into any devotees who may be at the entrance of the temple, like that. So there's a very nice pastime that I would like to share in this regard. This is I'm just reading from the pastime. This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. While traveling to Puri, Sanatana Goswami contracted a skin disease. Considering himself physically infirm, spiritually, give me a second. Yeah. Physically infirm, spiritually fallen, and unfit to render devotional service, he resolved to end his life. Upon arrival in Puri, he went to meet Haridas Thakur, at which time Sri Chaitanya suddenly arrived there. Despite Sanatana's protests, the Lord embraced his deceased body and then regrettably informed him that his brother Anupma had passed away. As they spoke, Sri Chaitanya understood Sanatana's plan to commit suicide. Thus the Lord returned a few days later and instructed him not to commit such an act. As a surrendered devotee, Sanatana's body, the Lord postulated, was now his property, and he had many tasks to achieve through it. There was no question of destroying it. Sanatana happily accepted, offering himself as a wooden doll in the loving hands of his divine master. One day, Sri Chaitanya invited Sanatan Goswami to Yameshwara Tota for prasadam. Despite the blazing heat, Sanatana came via the beach, causing his feet to severely blister due to the scorching hot sand. He deliberately took this painful route to avoid encountering the servants of Jagannatha, who he felt would be contaminated if they accidentally touched him. Sri Chaitanya commended Sanatana for his impeccable culture and etiquette, explaining that such ideal behavior is the ornament of a Vaishnava. So humility is the ornament of a Vaishnava. Later, when Jagadananda Pandita instructed Sanatana in other matters, Sanatana humbly accepted his advice, but Sri Chaitanya severely reprimanded Jagadananda for impudently instructing a superior Vaishnava. So what happens is, every time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Sanatana Goswami, he embraces him. And since it's explained here that Sanatana Goswami had this skin infection, like he had, open wounds like that, blisters and wounds like that. And every time the Lord embraced, he felt very bad because, he's the pure Lord and he's embracing him, and they used to ooze pus and liquids, fluids like that. So he was very embarrassed, and he never wanted, even when, and they went to meet him, Haridas Thakur, I think it was Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami, he would stand at a distance and, just offer his obeisances. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to come closer, but he would like, no, I'm not going to go any closer to you because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked up to him and embraced him, So all these things actually gave a lot of questions in the mind of Sri Sanatana Goswami. And at that time, when he was expressing his concerns, like how he feels so miserable when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embracing him in spite of his skin conditions like that. Jagadananda Pandita advises him, now that the Rath Yatra is over, why don't you just go back to Vrindavan? Because anyways, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted you to go back there and, work on the scriptures and things like that. So this is why, Sanatana Goswami is like mentally prepared. He thinks, oh, that's a great idea, and maybe I should just do that. So, but then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to know of this, that Jagadananda Pandit has actually advised Sanatana, he gets very angry, and he says that, who is he to advise you? I mean, what is his position? He's just new to this whole thing, and your Sanatana is at such a high level, and who gave him the authority to even advise what you should be doing and that you should be leaving for Vrindavan? So at that time, this is where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he severely chastises Jagadananda for instructing a superior Vaishnava. So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again glorifies this. This again leads to the opposite reaction. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes this opportunity to again glorify Sanatan Goswami and again embraces him. But this time what happens, his skin disease totally disappears, because this is giving so much of worry or concern to Sanatan. Not that Sanatan Goswami was in the bodily platform. It's not like that. It's just that he didn't want the Lord to embrace him in that condition. So that's why that's why, at this point, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he very magically and mystically, he causes this skin problem of Sanatan to vanish or disappear like that. So I was reminded when Sri Haridas Thakur was taking the same kind of humble position, like he should not be touched, I mean, untouchable. If anybody touches me, he should take a bath. So even Sri Sanatan Goswami was in the same mood, right? So many of our acharyas, even Bhakti Vinodha Thakura, he says, Kaliya Kukura, he says, I'm a dog, in this Kali Yuga, like that. So they take a very humble position, not that they are anywhere close to it, but just for our purification of, our fallen souls in Kali Yuga, they are trying to present an example so that we can learn. Let's move on to this next couple of verses. एक सत्य करिया च आपन वदाने, ये जन तुम्हारा करे चरण स्मरणे। कीट तुल्य हाया यदि तारे नहीं छाड़ा, इहाते अन्यथा हायले नरेंद्र पाड़ा। एक सत्य करिया चे आपन वदाने, ये जन तुम्हारा करे चरण स्मरणे। कीट तुल्य हाय यदि तारे नहीं छाड़ा, इहते अन्यथा हायले नरेंद्र pada. Translation. You have personally declared that you will never forsake anyone who remembers your lotus feet, even if he is as insignificant as an insect, but you forsake the greatest kings if they do not remember your lotus feet. You do not forsake even the most insignificant living entity, but you diminish the prowess of great kings who are situated on the topmost platform of respect. I thought, we could make it a little interactive here. So any devotees would like to share where Krishna actually diminished the prowess of great kings. Any examples come to your mind? Please feel free to speak up.
Shalva?
Okay. And so many demon kings also we see, right? Like how Krishna, he even like Kamsa, so many Jarasandha, like so many kings, right? They were very powerful in some sense, but he actually diminished the prowess, or he actually killed them like that. Yeah, anybody else wants to share? Thank you, Preeti. That was Preeti, right?
Yes, Mata.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's so quiet. We may do like an interactive session at the end. So I'm hoping by then you're all warmed up to participate. So let's move on. Ei bala nahi mora smarana vihina, smarana karile matra rakha tumi dina. Ei bala nahi mora smarana vihina, smarana karile matra rakha tumi dina. These words do not apply to me. However, for I do not remember you. You protect even a fallen soul if he simply remembers you. If a fallen soul remembers you, you give him shelter, but I am unable to remember you. So now this second flow of thought, the remembrance part, is starting from this few verses. We'll see how it goes. सभामध्ये द्रौपदी करिते विवसाना अनिल पापिष्ठ दुर्योधन दुःशासना संकटे पडिया कृष्ण तोमासन नरीला स्मरण प्रभावे तुम्ही वस्त्रे प्रवेशीला सभामध्ये द्रौपदी करिते विवसाना अनिल पापिष्ठ दुर्योधन दुःशासना संकटे पडिया कृष्ण तोमासन रीला स्मरण प्रभवे तुम्ही वस्त्रे प्रवेशीला. Once the sinful brothers Duryodhana and Dushasana brought Draupadi to disrobe her in the royal assembly. Finding herself in that dangerous condition, she remembered you. By the influence of her remembrance, you entered into her cloth. See Mahabharata Sabha 68. 41, 48. I don't have this reference right now, but we are kind of familiar with this pastime, right? And I was also thinking, devotees, please do speak up. If you can share examples of devotees who remembered the Lord at the time of, distress like that. There are several examples, right, in our Shastras. So please feel free to share at this point. Yeah, I know I'm prodding you all to speak up today, but it'll be interesting, more interesting rather than me just speaking.
Gajendra. Hare Krishna
Yeah.
Mataji, Gajendra.
Yeah, Gajendra, do you want to share a few lines about the pastime Mataji?
Gajendra was in distress and he remembered, he sought help from everyone else, and then finally he realized he has to take help from the Lord, and he called out the Lord in distress. So he offered a lotus flower, and Lord immediately came on his Vahan and rescued him.
Yeah, so nice, Mataji. Thank you for sharing. Was there somebody else who wanted to share? Hare Krishna. Who is the example or the topmost epitome of Smarana? Anybody recall? Yeah, so Prahlad Maharaj too, right? Even though, Preeti, you're the best person to share. Do you want to share a couple of points about this?
Prahlad Maharaj always thought of Krishna under all circumstances. His father Hiranyakashipu tortured him in various ways, but still Prahlad, at every time when he was tortured also, his consciousness was so absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna that nothing affected him, and Krishna gave full protection every time.
Yeah, so nice, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else you'd like to share some other pastime where somebody called out for the protection of the Lord?
Mataji, did anybody share about Draupadi?
Yeah, Draupadi is what is being discussed here, but go ahead, please do share.
Yeah, when she needs the help, So Lord came and Lord rescued her in the form of sari and helped. Yeah. And
Yeah.
any other thing, we already saw it in our Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gangadas Pandit, the session that I covered when I taught Chaitanya Bhagavat, that time also he was um, in the dangerous situation. At that time, Lord came in the form of a boatman and helped him. Yeah.
So nice. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. Yeah, so there are several examples in our scriptures. Even we have heard of, like how Uttaratu, right, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, she prays to the Lord, and it's a very beautiful prayer. I just thought we can, try to kind of meditate on that one too. This one, can you see my screen? This is on Veda-based one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where in the 8th chapter of the first canto, when the Lord was departing for Dwarka, that time he saw Uttara, she was running toward him in fear. And I will not go through all the verses like that. And then she offers this beautiful prayer. Pahi pahi mahayogin, deva deva jagatpate, nanyam tvad abhayam pashe, yatra mrityu parasparam. It's such a beautiful translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. We see Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there's no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. And then she goes on to say, Abhidravati mam isha sharas taptayaso vibho kam dahutu mam natha name gharbo nipatitam. Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. So you're all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor. So in this verse, we see so nicely how she's saying, if you, she's offering a prayer to the Lord, as a mother, she wants to protect her child. But then she also says, if you so desire, at this, my Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. So she says, it's okay if something happens to me, but take care, of my baby in the womb. So very nice purport Srila Prabhupada gives here. This incident took place after the death of Abhimanyu, the husband of Uttara. Abhimanyu's widow, Uttara, should have followed the path of her husband. But because she was pregnant and Maharaja Parikshit, a great devotee of the Lord, was lying in the embryo, she was responsible for his protection. The mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child, and therefore Uttara was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Krishna. Uttara was the daughter of a great king, the wife of a great hero, and the student of a great devotee, and later she was the mother of a good king also. She was fortunate in every respect. So Prabhupada is trying to actually underscore that, it's not like Uttara was asking this kind of protection for some selfish reason, or, like just because it was her baby, like that. She wanted, because this was like the higher parent, for the family. And so she was trying to protect this baby, which was just, because even the 5 sons of Draupadi were all killed like that. So she was just thinking on those terms, and trying to seek protection for her baby, which was in the womb. Today morning's class also, we saw that, right? When Prahlad Maharaja was in the womb, and his mother Kayadu, she couldn't remember the instructions of Narad Muni. But of course, Prahlad Maharaja, he could remember, right? Because Narad Muni especially gave him the blessing to remember all these instructions, right? So because she was, like Prabhupada wrote in that purport, which we also studied today morning, that she was more engrossed in, taking care of the baby, trying to get enough rest, because she was carrying the baby, and she was also anxious to meet her husband, like that, because Hiranyakashipu was away, trying to meditate and get more powers like that. So, so she was away at that Narada Muni's ashram, and she was trying to, and she was getting lessons from him. So she just wanted to get back to where she was with her husband like that. So, so at that point of time, she was not able to totally understand, or comprehend Narada Muni's message. But Prahlad Maharaj, nonetheless, in the womb, by the mercy of Srila Narad Muni, he totally got, the science of Krishna consciousness, though he was just in the womb like that. So the mother of a child is always looking for ways to protect the child like that, right? And so Prabhupada says that this is not a shameless act. And then he says that the mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child. So there is nothing wrong, when sometimes we do go through such situations where, we do have we want to pray to the Lord for something for our children or for our near and dear like that. So it's a good prayer, like if we can offer, just like how Uttara has done here, right? She says, let it burn me personally if you so desire. So we can leave it to Krishna and say that this is something I'm going through. So as you desire, please show me a way, or do what you can to help me like that. So this is something I thought, worth sharing in terms of how Uttara also prayed to the Lord, right? We're reading how Draupadi is praying to the Lord. Okay, we'll move on to the next verse. स्मरण प्रभावे वस्त्र हाइला अनंत तथापि न जानिला से सब दुरंत स्मरण प्रभावे वस्त्र हाइला अनंत तथापि न जानिला से सब दुरंत. As a result of her remembrance, the cloth became unlimited, yet those miscreants did not understand why. So Dushasana kept pulling the robes like that. But then, he could never disrobe her because Krishna was providing unlimited sari to her. Kona kale Parvati re dakini ragane, vediya khaite khaila tomara smarane. Kona kale Parvati re dakini ragane, vediya khaite kaila tomara smarane. One time when Parvati was surrounded by witches, she remembered you as they were about to devour her. Smarana prabhave tumi avirbhuta hanya karila sabara shasti Vaishnavi tariya. Smarana prabhave tumi avirbhuta hanya karila sabara shasti Vaishnavi tariya. By the influence of her remembrance, you appear to chastise those witches and deliver that great Vaishnavi. Is this my last verse for today, or is there one more? There's one more, right? Yeah. Hena toma smarana vihina muni papa, more tora charane sharana deha bapa. Hena toma smarana vihina muni papa, more tora charane sharana deha bapa. But I am so sinful that I cannot remember you. Therefore, my Lord, please give me shelter at your lotus feet. So now at this point, let's take a brief digression to understand what this Smarana is all about and how this important limb of devotional service, Smarana, is explained through examples. So I made a few notes from our pristine literature, Srimad Bhagavatam here. And I will just be reading from there. So this is from the 7th canto, the 1st chapter. A devotee actually, he thinks this actually combines both these, threads of thought that we have seen today in our few verses, the 10, 11 verses that we covered today. That how a devotee takes a humble position and how the remembrance of the Lord actually also purifies the sinful people like that. And they also have a way to attain liberation. So this is from the 7th canto, chapter 1. Narada Muni continued, by devotional service, one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity toward him. That is my opinion. So Narad Muni is making a very bold statement that even by devotion service, one cannot be so nicely absorbed in Krishna than by exhibiting or than by cultivating enmity or inimical thoughts about the Lord. So that is his opinion. So how do we understand this? He's making such a bold statement here. Sriman Narada Muni, the topmost pure devotee, praises Krishna's enemies like Shishupala, because their minds are always completely absorbed in Krishna. Indeed, he thinks himself deficient in the inspiration of being feelingly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. This does not mean, however, that the enemies of Krishna are more elevated than Krishna's pure devotees. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also thinks of himself in such a humble way. Jagai madhai haite muni se papishta, puri shera kita haite muni se laghishta. He says, I'm a worse sinner than Jagai and Madhai, and I'm even lower than the worms in the stool. A pure devotee always thinks himself more deficient than everyone else. If a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that the devotee is greater than she. Thus, Narada Muni says that according to his opinion, the enemies of Krishna, sorry, it's my allergies, the enemies of Krishna are better situated because they are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna in terms of killing him, just as a very lusty man always thinks of women and their association. So, like I said, here Narada Muni is making a very bold statement, and he's saying that the enemies of the Lord, they attain liberation. Like Shishupal, it's discussed in the 7th canto, right? Like how Shishupal actually attains the Sayujya Mukti. He merges into Krishna like that. And so, how come such a sinner, who has such an inimical attitude, he is getting liberated? And then Narada Muni, to add to it, he also says that they are in a better position than actually a person who's doing devotional service. So how do we understand? So our acharyas have very mercifully and very kindly put together, how we can understand these statements and how what these devotional service in different moods and different attitudes towards Krishna means. So this is from the Nectar of Devotion, wherein this theme is also described in great detail. How we can understand is beautifully given. The gopis may be considered to be examples of spontaneous love and sensual attraction. The gopis are young girls and Krishna is a young boy. Superficially, it seems that the gopis are attracted to Krishna on grounds of sex. Similarly, King Kamsa was attracted to Krishna because of fear. Kamsa was always fearful of Krishna because we know the reason. And Shishupal was also always envious of Krishna. And due to their family and the descendants of King Yadu, due to their family relationship with Krishna, were always thinking of him as one of their members. All of these different kinds of devotees have a spontaneous attraction for Krishna in different categories, and they achieve the same desired goal of life. So is it actually same? This is how why is it being said that all of them are liberated, even though we know that one was in a very inimical attitude toward the Lord, and then one was not. So here Srila Rupa Goswami describes the attraction of the gopis for Krishna and the affection of the members of the Yadu dynasty are both accepted as spontaneous or raganuga. The attraction of Kamsa to Krishna in fear and the attraction of Sishupala in envy are not accepted as devotional service. However, because the attitudes are not favorable, devotional service should be executed only in a favorable frame of mind. Therefore, according to Srila Rupa Goswami, such attractions are not considered to be in devotional service. again he analyzes the affection of the Yadus. So here it's a very important point. I thought this is very, kind of worth contemplating. If it is on the platform of friendship, then it is spontaneous love. But if it is in the platform of regulative principles, then it is not. And only when affection comes to the platform of spontaneous love is it counted in the category of pure devotional service. So we need to go to those stages of, at least above bhava like that, to come to that platform of pure devotional service. So until such time, it is, still we are trying to learn and trying to get there in the path of devotional service. You're trying to do it as regulator principles. So the intent behind is like the attraction should be spontaneous. So now the question arises then, if this is not real devotional service, then how come both are being liberated? So something is not, adding up there correctly, right? I mean, we know that the gopis are in pure devotional service, they're the highest platform. And then this, these Shishupala and Kamsa are in a very inimical attitude, and they're also liberated nonetheless into the Brahmajyoti. So how do we understand, why is the Lord doing this? There may be some difficulty in understanding, this is again from Nectar of Devotion, there may be some difficulty in understanding that both the gopis and Kamsa achieve the same goal. So this point should be carefully understood because the attitudes of Kamsa and Shishupala were way different from that of the gopis. Although in all these cases, the focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and all of the devotees are elevated to the supreme spiritual world, there is still a distinction between these two classes of souls. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the absolute truth is one, and that is manifested as impersonal Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Here's a spiritual distinction. Although Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the same and one absolute truth, devotees like Kamsa or Shishupala could attain only to the Brahman effulgence. They could not have the realization of Paramatma or Bhagavan. And very nice analogy Srila Prabhupada gives here of the sun globe. And then he says that the temperature of the sun globe is different from the temperature of the sunshine. One who has gone through the sunshine in jet planes on spaceships has not necessarily gone to the sun globe. Although the sunshine and the sun globe are actually one and the same, still there's a distinction, for one is the energy and one is the energetic source. Kamsa and Shishupala attained to the absolute truth, but they were not allowed to enter into Goloka Vrindavan abode. So here very nicely, Prabhupada gives another analogy. There is a difference between, the pure devotees of the Lord and then the people who are envious of the Lord, right? The destinations. He says that to enter the kingdom and to enter the king's palace are not the same thing. So though Shishupala, and Kamsa may have entered the kingdom, that is the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, but they cannot enter the king's palace. So that is the distinction, Prabhupada is trying to bring about here, how we can understand that, how both of them, though technically you can say, because Krishna is realized in three aspects, but then there are still gradations or levels to that, like that. The impersonal philosophers are in one sense like the enemies of the Lord, because the out and out enemies of the Lord and the impersonalists are both allowed to enter only the impersonal effulgence of the Brahmajyotir. And why are they enemies of the Lord? Because they try to always place themselves on the same level with the Lord. That is due to their envious attitude. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has proclaimed the impersonalists to be offenders of the Lord. The Lord is so kind, however, that even though they are his enemies, they are still allowed into the spiritual kingdom and remain in the impersonal Brahmajyoti. So we see that the pure devotee of the Lord, he is not, he wants to serve the Lord. He or she wants to serve the Lord and have this beautiful relationship. Of course, in the Nectar of Devotion, Shri Rupa Goswami says that, the other rasas are still, in some sense, achievable. But then the rasa of friendship and madhurya, these two are very, even more difficult in the sense that, it's talking of that much intimacy with the Lord, right? Sakhyaras, the Gopas, they used to play with Krishna as though he was just another child, right? Krishna is to carry them, and how Arjuna had Krishna as his charioteer. And so this Sakhya ras and also Madhurya ras are one step above the other rasas. That's what Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar of Devotion, that these two are still on a higher platform, and it's not easy to achieve these rasas, because at that level you are talking to the Lord as though you're equals, like that. And so even as a parent, the Vatsalya rasa, you're taking care, you're in a mood of love and affection, like that. But as a friend, you can fight with, you have arguments with your friends, you do all kinds of things, right, with your friends, like that. And then Madhurya is of course higher. So Rupa Goswami describes that these two rasas are much more higher, and it's not easy to get to that platform. And even devotees who are at that platform have to be so surrendered, like how he explains here. See, such a pure devotee cannot forget the Lord even for a moment. This is called trance. The mystic yogi tries to concentrate upon the super soul by controlling the senses from all other engagements, and thus he ultimately attains samadhi. A devotee more easily attains samadhi or trance by constantly remembering the Lord's personal feature along with his holy name, fame, pastimes, etc. Therefore, the concentration of the mystic yogi and that of the devotee are not on the same level. The concentration of the mystic is mechanical, whereas that of the pure devotee is natural in pure love and spontaneous affection. Bhishma Deva was a pure devotee, and as a military marshal, he constantly remembered the battlefield feature of the Lord as Parthasarathi. So this is, talking about the remembrance, how the remembrance of different devotees, described in our scriptures are different, and how our acharyas actually give us insights on this. And I was also reminded of, in the same context, one pastime which Indradun Maharaj actually shares. And when he was traveling on the flight with Srila Prabhupada, they were showing a movie of Charlie Chaplin. And Srila Prabhupada was laughing, when he was watching it. And he was confused as to, like, devotees should not be watching movies. How come Srila Prabhupada is really enjoying this? And then Pradyumna, another devotee, was there with him. And so he goes up and asks Srila Prabhupada, like, what's it like? You seem to be enjoying this. And then Prabhupada says that, yes, Krishna is original. And his Charlie Chaplin's humor is original. So he's getting it from Krishna. So, like, Prabhupada could see in everything, he could see Krishna. And he was reminded of Krishna's opulence, his energies, his opulence, like that. Even as a parting comment, even in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 7, the opulence of the Absolute, there are a couple of verses which describe the opulence of the Lord, and which are worthwhile for us to, maybe we can try to memorize them, and it may help us to remember the Lord, like that, and his different features. And of course, there are several verses like that all over our scriptures, but especially from the 7th chapter. I think it's verse 8 onwards or so. So that may give us a practical way to remember Krishna. I was thinking that we should do an interactive session of how devotees try to remember Krishna through the day. I mean, what reminds them of Krishna? Are there certain objects, like, for example, at work, you may place a Bhagavad Gita shloka there, or a picture of Krishna there. At home, you may, on your desk, like that. So what are different ways devotees try to remember Krishna in their day-to-day activities? I think we are past time, but if we can give just a couple of comments, it'll be nice to hear from everybody.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna.
Mataji, my remember for Krishna will start with Bhakti Sanga calls and ends with the Bhakti Sanga call. The classes that we are here having. So, okay, now the reminder came, I have to join to the mid-morning class. I have to join to the early morning class. So whenever the reminders comes on the WhatsApp group, that will help me. Like, I have to be with the devotees and I have to join the class and hear about Krishna. That is really helping, Mataji. Other than that, when we just sit near the altar, my altar is in the hallway. So whenever I see the deity, I just remember about Krishna. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
So you're using the phone in a good way. So the phone helps you to think of devotees and Krishna. That's amazing. For me, the phone works in some other ways, which I don't want to discuss here. Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Vinita. Anybody else would like to share what is something they do, in their daily day-to-day activities to remember Krishna?
We have at home different paintings of Krishna, and when we see the beautiful clouds, you can think of Krishna outside when you're driving, and you can think of Krishna maybe not all the time, but maybe once in a while. You can remember Krishna as the taste of water when you drink water. So these are some things that come to my mind.
Thank you, Preeti. I think for this group of devotees who are here, the question should be framed the other way. When are the times you don't remember Krishna? Because all of you are such pure souls. And, it would be an understatement to ask, what are the ways you remember Krishna? Rather, what are the times when you don't remember? Because maybe those are the times you may not be thinking of Krishna, but other times you all are thinking of Krishna. Yes, Karpagvali Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji Dandatna.
Dandavat.
Mataji, first of all, always you remember Krishna, don't forget Krishna. That is the principle we have, no, Mataji. In the morning we do our Brahma Muhurta chanting, and then with that this thing itself, we go and do some little work in the house, and then go to my work. And the work also, I learned that morning Bhagavatam class I attend. We were traveling to my office. And then after that, the little bit class and all, I'll just hear with that earphone and all. In my table, I'm having Krishna's picture, Mataji, with
Yeah.
Radha Krishna on this thing. And then I'll always think, uh, mostly, I don't tell this thing. I'm telling you, because always thinking and not forgetting. After 1 o'clock and all, and then I'll have my food, and then Chaitanya Chardamrita class will be there. After that, evening one class, Bhagavatam class, Bhakti Sanga, and after that, this 8 o'clock Bhagavatam class, and then Chaitanya Bhagavatam. Like that, we are remembering always. My husband and all tell always you're with the the thing tab and the thing, or with that earphone, you're listening. He will say, and always you're thinking, you're forgetting me. He will say, you're forgetting me, and you're not doing anything. You're always thinking of Krishna. That's always thinking of Krishna, Mataji. That is the thing. Like that, I will also sing my chanting itself. I will be praying to Krishna, but like this chanting itself, my life. You should this thing to take me off. Like I'll be praying. I should not forget you. All forget you. I'll keep that Panchatattva, that the picture in my this thing in my room, and that in the thing. Always remembering, telling like that, Mataji. Like that.
Yeah.
My small neophyte devotee thinking always, Mataji. There's no other way, no other way to have shelter only. That's
No,
all, Mataji.
Mataji,
Thank you.
you may consider yourself neophyte, but you're already up there. Like you rightly said, like Preeti mentioned, while driving, she listens to classes, and that's something. So that's something devotees do, right? They listen to lectures, they listen to Prabhupada chanting Mahamantra or any kirtan like that. So listening is one thing. Vinita said looking at her phone and looking up classes, reminds her of devotees. And you so sweetly mentioned that you have pictures of Krishna, Radha and Krishna in your practice, and then you're logging on to classes, and you also have pictures of Krishna in your room, so it reminds you. Very beautiful, Mataji. Thank you for sharing. There are a couple of more devotees. Bhakti Sangha host. Is this Preeti again? Preeti, you want to share something?
I
Or
was
is it?
just thinking that now that it's spring season, I don't know. It's just something that I wanted to share. Now that it's spring season, and in places like not only in the places where we live, but throughout the US, um, the 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 towns are planned so beautifully. They are all
landscaped and curated, and you have these beautiful rose plants and flowering plants. So another thing that I often, or maybe everybody, all the devotees, we can think of when we see these beautiful flowering plants is how I wish I can offer these flowers to Krishna. So even those plants remind us of service to Krishna. Just a thought wanted to share.
Jai. So nice, Preeti. Thank you for sharing that. I was just thinking, where Krishna says, right, Punyo Gandha Prithivyam cha. You were saying that it's raining and it's green all over. Very nice, yeah, to share the flowers as garlands to Krishna. Even yesterday, Guru Bhakti Mataji, she's a very senior devotee in our community, and she is a doctor, but now she's retired. And I used to go to her office sometimes, and because Mataji, like Karpakvalli Mataji said that she has Radha Krishna pictures in her practice, but here people tend to be a little more non-sectarian in that sense, so she used to have these pictures of Govardhan Hill. So people just thought it was some hill, so people who do not know, but she used to have Radha Kunda, Shama Kunda and Govardhan Hill pictures in her practice. So she did not, uh, for a commoner, they wouldn't understand the significance behind those pictures. But as a devotee, that was her way of meditating, because she couldn't explicitly put pictures of Radha and Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out there in the seating area. But she wanted that people should somehow get some sukriti, so she put those pictures of Govardhana Hill, Shamkund, Radha Kunda there in the seating area and the reception. So people, at least when they take darshan of Govardhan Hill, that itself is purifying, right? And some sense. So devotees try to incorporate so many beautiful things, and that's why I wanted like devotees to share how they try to remember, because I could learn a lot, from all your experiences. Like how Preeti just mentioned that she sees flowers around in springtime, and that reminds her how beautiful garlands one devotees can make for the Lord. And yesterday, this is where I was reminded of Guru Bhakti Mata. She was giving the Bhagavatam class in the temple, and the uh, the garland which was offered was gardenia and tulsi and roses. And then the fragrance was so out of the world. She was saying that, this fragrance must be patented, you know, as a perfume fragrance or something. It was like so amazing. I mean, of course, I was watching it online, but she passed around the garland for everybody to smell and see how it was. So, like that, everything in service of Krishna is so amazing, right? I mean, like even the garland, we can like appreciate and glorify. Devotees put so much of work into making such beautiful garlands for the Lord, right? Everything is so beautiful and reminds us of how the devotees of the Lord get this kind, because the Lord gives this knowledge to the devotees, right? And the devotees make such beautiful things for the Lord. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Mataji. Haritha, do you want to share something?
Mataji, I just wanted to add before
Yeah,
Haritha
sure.
Mataji goes. You mentioned about Guru Bhakti Mataji's practice place. Another thing that she keeps is always the book table in her welcome room. So that is also such a beautiful way to give Krishna consciousness to everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
even
you're
in
right.
practice. Yeah.
That's very nice. Thank you for sharing that, Preeti. And also,
Mataji, another thing,
yeah.
Mataji,
Uh-huh.
another thing, no, I'm in Tamil Nadu. In the thing in one Thirumal Permi in one Tamil movie is there. In that Thirumal, about all that pasrams and all the Alvargal and all, they will say. In that first Alvar, in that he'll be singing the song. And you see the greens and all, he will see the skin and திருமாலின் நிறத்தை கண்டேன் அவருடைய
Tirumeni.
திருமேனி கண்டேன் அந்த அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு வாட்டி they will say Mataji that yellow flowers means that Mahalakshmi's face, that blue color like that he see, and all the colors and all he will see. That's a one
Yeah.
very nice that song and all we cannot touch it.
Mataji, if you have a
மலர்களிலே
link to that, can you share later, Mataji? Like this.
மலர்களிலே அவன் மனம் கண்டேன் பெருமாள்னு அவன் பெருமை கண்டேன். I will see Mataji. Okay. You are Tamilian,
Thanks.
Mataji?
Yeah, I speak Tamil.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So beautiful realizations. Thank you. Haritha, do you want to share now?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Mataji, actually, what Priti Mataji told, what Vedha Gandharvika Mataji told, that always reminds me the same. And even like when I want to tell my kids, mainly my kids remind me Krishna. Because due to their naughtiness also, I'll remember Krishna. And when I want to tell them something good, like how to behave also, I give example of Krishna. And I'll tell them how Krishna helps us. Like I give various examples of the pastimes of Krishna, like Agasura or whatever, Bhagasura, all these stories. I'll say how Krishna is helping you from the demon. Similarly, he will protect you from all the problems also. So always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And I always like Bhakti Sanga kids classes. They make me remember Krishna a lot because the kids, the way the Matajis teach them and and how they express that always makes me remember Krishna, and I like to teach that to my kids. So my kids help me to remember Krishna a lot, Mataji, for me.
Yeah, so beautiful, Mata. So parenting, in effect, you're saying helps you to think
Yeah.
of Krishna. That's so beautiful. That's something all of us can really try to incorporate too, like in our lives, the parents especially. Very beautiful, Haritha. Shivani, thank you so much, Haritha. Do you have anything more to share, Haritha?
No, Mataji, that's all. Hare Krishna.
Amazing. Very, very beautiful. Shivani Mataji, you had raised your hand, but you put it down, but we're not letting you go.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept
Hare
my humble
Krishna.
obeisances. My family members make me remind of Krishna. And every time I leave for work, I can't speak there, but I can listen to the classes. So I have the earpod and I'm listening. And when I'm cooking and distributing prashadam, that also reminds me of Krishna. And when I leave my home, always I do Dhamma pranams to my deities and the temple room that I have. So that's all. Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Jai, very beautiful, Mataji. So, you're saying that you have your earpods on and at work too. I know even Indu does that, right? Many times she's listening in from work, and she talks in that husky whispering voice, like that, and she's listening to classes. So devotees are so engrossed in Krishna that they find different ways and means to think of the Lord. I so much appreciate all of your insights, and it gives me several ideas like that. And if anybody else wants to share, Dharshini Mataji, sorry, I didn't see your hand up. Please go ahead, Mataji. Mataji, your voice is too low.
Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji, now?
Yeah, it's better now, Mataji. Yeah, thank you, Mata.
Yeah, Mataji. So for me, it's, I'm not so great like the other devotees that, I can keep listening. I don't have so much taste. So the one thing that, I do is because like, I deal more with the software and, mobile and system all the time. I always have my wallpaper and screensavers with, Radha Shamsundar pictures or Radha Madhav pictures or Gaurnatai pictures. So, every time, even when I stop working, suddenly the screensaver goes on or, the laptop shuts down. So again, when I open it, I see, Gaurnatai first. I see Radha Shamsundar first. So every time I see them, I'm reminded that, yes, I belong to them. And this is where I'm going to go. Whatever I'm doing now is very temporary. It's going to get over at one point of time, but I'm actually going to belong.
Yeah, so nice, Mataji. So you say that you have different screensavers and backdrops like that remind you of Krishna at work. Very beautiful, Mataji. Yesterday, actually, my husband, he took some cookies to work, and he said that they disappeared in like 30 seconds, literally in 30 seconds. Yeah, sorry. Were you saying something? Did I cut you off?
No, I actually got disconnected.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please share, Mataji.
Yeah, so like, one more thing was that Yes, ma'am.
Please go on, Mataji. We can hear you, but it's kind of breaking up, but we can hear you still.
Okay, Mataji. No, like, one more thing was that, one thing that I learned was, from a superior was that, to connect colors to Krishna. Like you see yellow, you think you see someone wearing yellow and blue, you think of Krishna and Balram. You see someone wearing, yellow and blue, you can still think of Gaur and Nitai. And you see, red color, you can remember Radha Rani performing Man Leela. So, one thing that I learned was regarding, see any color and relate it to some pastime of Krishna. Like, you see green, you can always remember Tulsi Maharani. You see trees, you can always remember Tamal trees in Vrindavan. So, that was one thing that I tried to do, but I don't know to what extent I'm successful. That's it, Mataji.
Right. So colors remind you of Krishna. Very beautiful, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, like it's just defined in our scriptures, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, right? So Shravanam, Kirtanam are so important, right? The first two limbs, because unless we hear about Krishna, unless, we hear devotees glorify about Krishna, how can we do Smaranam, right? If we don't know anything about Krishna, how we are able to remember some pastime, we are able to associate something with Krishna because we know something, we are in the know of, how this is being associated with Krishna. So you all gave such wonderful examples that only shows how all of us, all of you are so engrossed in Krishna Katha. Though you said, you don't have so much taste for hearing, but you're hearing, and that's why you're seeing Krishna in colors like that, right? In screensavers like that. So thank you so much to all the devotees for your wonderful insights and for sharing, practical ways how we can remember Krishna in our lives. And if anybody wants to add anything, please feel free to go on. I think I will stop here for now, pause here for now. Thank you so much. iPhone, is this that Mataji? Yashomati Mataji?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hi,
please accept
Krishna
my
Mataji.
and this all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga and all the small devotees. Yeah, Mataji, I always remember whatever in the morning, first from the bed, I have to chant, I have to get up. And then at that time, I remember Krishna, I do the darshan to Krishna's picture. And then I just ready for doing aarti and every time. At that time, I just go to the my altar and I do aarti. At that time, I just looking at Krishna, how he smiles, how his eyes is like that, and it gives me so much happiness. And when I see outside, sometimes my daughter and my Prabhu say, "Oh, now it's rainy, rainy, rainy." I say, "Yeah, it is good. How the Krishna is so merciful. He just take care his all kids, Jad and Chetan. So if he don't give the rain to the trees and plants, we don't go to give the all trees, whatever in the whole world. So he takes care of all trees and gardens and everything. And plus, one time it is very laughing things that one time I was cooking the bhoga for Krishna, and I was using the cumin. And at that time, I was thinking, oh Krishna, how you made this different taste that in some particular things you do by cumin, some particular you just do vaga tadka like the other things, methi, rai, like that. So I was thinking, how Krishna, you are so much merciful. You just made so many different tastes for so many different people. So many things I just remember, and always when I do the classes, afternoon reading classes, Bhagavatam class and Gita class, I really love Krishna, and I really always remember Krishna, the childhood picture. Since I was young, I always love the baby Krishna, and now I always remember about Radha Rani all the time, the Radha Shyam Sundar from Vrindavan. So I remember that thing, Mataji, all the time. I just try to always uh, remember Krishna, don't forget Krishna. And whenever, even though I got in some pain, I say, "Oh Krishna, you are so merciful. You have something planned for me that I can more close to you." So at that time, I also remember Krishna. Thank you,
So
Mataji.
nice. Thank you, Mataji. So nice, Mataji. You are seeing Krishna in all the ingredients we use for cooking. It's amazing, Mataji, how devotees see Krishna and everything. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. Yeah. Anybody else has anything to comment? Or maybe we can. Anybody else has anything to share?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to thank you for the very nice class, for the beautiful verses that were covered today. You were speaking about the word Arya, then you quoted the verse of Uttara, and then you went on to speak about the story of Sanatan Goswami, and then you spoke about Haridas Thakur's mode, and finally you wrapped it up with Smaranam. The class was beautiful, very nicely planned out class, and quoting from various places, Srila Prabhupada's lectures, and then finally having discussion with all the devotees. Such a well thought and beautifully given class. Thank you so much for the efforts that you put in. Hare Krishna
All
Mataji.
glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, I'm just a parrot trying to repeat what our acharyas have given us and trying to make use of some knowledge you have imparted in me, how to try to give classes. You do such a great job with presentations and pictures, and you know, you're AI queen also now. So just learning from you, Mataji.
Thank you again, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
You even were so kind and merciful. You allowed me to pick and choose the verses. You know? So I trouble you so much, but you're too kind to allow me to do such things.
This was so nicely done, and I was just thinking it was tailor-made for you. So thank you so much again.
Thank you,
Thank
Preeti.
you, Mataji. Thank you, dear devotees. We'll be ending the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhishcha. Shivan Mataji is there. Yeah, I forgot. Vancha kalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Her Grace Sagari Mataji ki jai.
All goes to Shishi Guru and
Hari
Gauranga.
Bol
Srila
Mataji,
Prabhupada
Hare
ki jai.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Then my pranams to all devotees.